Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
So there's a fog machine that they decided to let out in the studio. I walked in this morning to like a wall of smoke. Yeah. I don't know. My chest feels a little tight.
I have no albuterol.
So Evan's already complaining. Speaking of Deuce, Roke wants to know, will his colonoscopy be a single cam colonoscopy or remotely cam? Well, it seems quick. It's probably like an hour procedure. It really depends on what they see in there. You know, they might open them up and see the Hollywood sign and say, what's going on in here, you know?
This is so
Are we going to do this?
Yeah.
I just don't want... Look, no, listen, I don't want people to get mad that, they're going off the rails here. Here's the conundrum of the human mind, okay, when trying to figure out existence. One time, there was absolutely nothing, and something came of nothing. Right. So then, if that can't happen, then we have to believe that there was always something. There's a mechanism that the aliens... Because when I get close to figuring it out, they make me go to sleep. We can't have Fred figuring this out. I ordered an Italian sub in honor of Paul today.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Tuesday here at Gillette Stadium, and it's the three of us. Paul is back from Italy, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about there. I haven't heard of any international incidents yet. I know I looked up the Italian version of Toys R Us as Giochi Siamo Noi.
Okay.
So
no
incidents there?
Nothing even resembling an incident in Italy.
Okay.
Minor little thing on the plane once we landed back in Boston.
Oh, just a little bit.
It's kind of funny.
Okay, we'll talk about that. And we got Evan here. Deuce is out today. Matt's in the booth. Talking Patriots and everything else. A lot of emails follow up from Thursday's show. It was an epic show.
That was epic.
Epic show. People saying it may be one of the best off-season shows we've ever done.
Wow.
That's what I've heard.
I believe that.
People are saying that.
I didn't even really know what to say.
Definitely not what I heard.
Who told you that? I thought we had a great time.
People are saying it.
He's just upset because he wasn't here.
I know, that's okay. Yeah. I don't think Paul would have liked that kind of discussion anyway.
No, I was interested, but
yeah.
I couldn't really contribute.
Here's the latest message I got. So what are the chances PFW Paul listened to last Thursday's show and decided to stay in Italy?
Oh. Who sent you that?
Right there, Sideline Salvos.
Okay.
One person.
Yeah.
Well, that was the most recent one I had.
Yeah. Okay.
I got the questions.
Everybody
for
has
the newsletter. Ranking my favorite Star Wars shows, movies in orders. I'm just like, Then I get a cartoon from our buddy, what's his
Cloud?
name? Yeah, about you and all your,
my philosophies,
existentialism crap.
Yeah. I don't know, Paul. Some people like Star Wars. Did you hear? Have you heard?
No.
Have you heard?
It's pretty popular. Yeah. I don't know if you know about that. They have
this was not an anti-Star Wars rant. It was an anti-show rant.
Oh, okay.
He just doesn't like shows he doesn't participate in.
Right.
Like he's got to be.
Right, because if it doesn't have him in it, then it's no
how
good.
could it be possibly be
No,
good?
that's okay.
Yeah. That's fact.
Yeah.
Little FOMO.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. So what do we got Patriots-wise going on? Rookies are still here.
Yeah, we were at rookie minicamp on Saturday, so that was fun. Didn't see everybody. No Gabe Akis. He was physically there, but not practicing, and no Eli Raridan either. So not the whole class, but we saw a bunch of the rookies, a bunch of the UDFAs, the tryout players. A couple guys actually got contracts out of those tryout players that had good weekends. So it was good to be back out there and see some football. Not a ton of, it wasn't overly competitive or anything like that. They did do a one real 11-on-11 period where we saw some stuff, but I think just to get into it a little bit, the highlight of the practice was kind of Baron Morton. Honestly, the quarterback threw the ball pretty well, looked the part, and he was kind of the most impressive. Like, you're not gonna really break down Caleb Lomu in a non-padded practice in May, but
what is this that I hear? Because I wasn't there, I admit it.
That's okay.
What is this about Lomu lining up at left tackle?
Yeah, so Lomu was at left tackle and Crownover was at right tackle. There's a few contextual things there. They only had 3 tackles at practice.
Okay.
So someone had to play left tackle.
Gotcha.
I think that's probably the biggest piece of context that's important. The other thing I would just say is maybe instead of already transitioning him, let's just get his feet wet in the NFL practice and go through the motions a little bit. It's an orientation. It's not really a,
We're not even really teaching anything yet, right?
Yeah, no, they're kind of just going through the motions of what a Patriots practice
Their routine.
looks like,
Right.
and what the day is going to look like.
Right.
It's literally orientation, like
Yeah,
you go
onboarding.
to in college as a freshman. So they had him at left, and Crownover played his college position of right tackle, and Lawrence Mentz, the international pathway player, was the third tackle at practice. So I did see Lomu out in the back and Dante's Inferno taking a few sets from the right side, in terms of hitting the pads and positional drills and stuff like that. But in team, he was at left tackle.
So they practiced outside?
They did. It got rained on a little bit, not too bad.
Yeah,
a little bit of rain.
Yeah, I just... A
little bit of rain.
I thought
Yeah.
we did rookie... Maybe it was because
So
of,
we-
must have
they-
been because of the weather.
They did it last
Last
year
year
inside.
it was indoors, right? Yeah.
The
That was
weather was
because of the
worse.
weather, yeah.
Yeah, this was more like there was one 10 to 15 minute period where it rained pretty good, and then the rest of it was mostly dry.
Yeah.
But it was good. And then we talked to a bunch of them afterwards. All the day 3 guys all spoke afterwards. So besides Quintavious Hutchins, who left with an injury at practice, so that would be something to monitor.
Yep.
Moving forward.
Okay.
So they signed, I know one of them was the safety.
Yeah, and then
was it Mamua?
then the edge rusher. Name is escaping me right now, but he was wearing 51 out there. Guy that didn't necessarily flash at the practice that we were at, I wouldn't say, but you could tell that he had the measurables and sort of the body type that they look for at that position. So we'll see.
linebacker Xavier Holmes.
Holmes,
out
yeah.
of James Madison, and safety Peter Manuma out of Hawaii.
He was one of the guys that everybody kind of jotted down was popping, the safety.
Was there a large media crew there?
You know what? For a Saturday in May, for rookie minicamp, it was decent.
Okay.
It was a decent crowd. I wouldn't say the whole contingent was there, but every outlet was represented in some way, shape, or form. So that was good. Deuce and I were, and Alex, she was there too. All 3 of us were there.
We haven't had a show since Thursday, obviously, but Thursday afternoon after our show, they had the annual first-round pick on the field with the Crafts in the media, and Caleb Lomu stopped by the studio and sat down with us. So we're going to have that at halftime. We're going to play that, or we want to play it during the show? Yeah. So why don't we go right to that, and let's hear from Caleb Lomu and us. All right, we are joined by Caleb Lomu. Caleb, thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's a big day for you, right?
It is a big day. It's very exciting.
Yeah, you just came from the field with Jonathan and Robert Kraft, and he introduced you to the media. And it's always a big deal here when our first-round draft pick comes on the field and goes through that ritual. But other than that, how's your day been?
It's been awesome. You know, I had an early flight this morning, had a red eye, so got in early, got some sleep, which was nice. And then, got straight to here. Got to meet a lot of people. I haven't met a lot of the players yet, but kind of just touring around and doing all that.
So have you ever been to, New England or, the Boston area before?
I have not.
Really?
Closest I've been, on one of those 30 visits, I went to New York. And that's the furthest I've been out here.
Okay,
so
we don't like New York.
So we don't.
Yeah,
so
we're much different than New York.
Yeah, this is the furthest I've been. First time.
Okay, so you've got a lot of catching up to do.
I do.
Yeah, so if you need any restaurant reviews or anything like that,
I will need some.
we're the people.
I'll come to you guys. Don't
Except
worry.
for Evan, he doesn't eat gluten, so
Or dairy.
Dairy.
whatever.
So-
We'll get it right. See, I told you.
Yeah, I'm a red meat guy. So if you need a steak place, you let me know.
I'll come to you.
If you need what, vegetables? Is
What do you mean? I eat everything. Come on. Fred is in a mood today.
You guys fire away.
I like that hat. Do you see the
Thank
hat?
you.
That's a
It's-
pretty.
That
It's
is nice.
awesome.
It's
I love
a pretty
it.
nice hat.
Yeah, it was the draft day one when I was putting on.
I think that's
I
a
got the call.
special one. I don't know if they sell the ones with the outline like that.
I'm not sure if they
Pretty
do.
cool.
Like these, I mean, in the previous years of the hats that they sent to players, these are definitely the coolest
That's a
ones.
cool. We had a lot of people say, "Oh, Caleb had the hat already. They knew that they were going to be picking him. But tell people like what happens.
So you get sent all the hats.
Right.
So you get all 32, and you can kind of sit on some of the videos. Just had a table in front of me, had all the hats laid out. And so once I got the call, we just grabbed the one.
Yeah. When you got that call, the room like erupted.
Yeah.
Like, were you genuinely surprised? Like when you got it?
Like all the previous stuff I had with the Patriots was all super good. And so I knew, like, if I was around for them, there was a good chance I was going to get picked by them. Yeah. And I was hoping for that. And so I was kind of just talking about it earlier. The whole trading up thing happened super fast. And so I got the call not knowing who it was, and I found out it was the Patriots. And as soon as I hung up on the phone, they were already announcing the pick. And just like you said, everyone erupted.
It was great.
Everyone started going crazy.
Yeah.
But you can see in the background in some of the videos, the commissioner's walking up to announce me. And so I didn't even hear my name get called, which kind of sucked. But
we got it. We got it on tape.
There's replays, and so we're just celebrating with everyone was definitely
We'll get it to you.
I wanted to bring you back to high school, go all the way through here a little bit. I was talking to your coach, Jim Harding, the other day, and he said that he came to see you as a high school junior. You're only 265 pounds. Now, obviously, you're a little bigger than that. So just a lot of Wheaties. Like, what went into developing your body to this point?
Yeah, so in high school, definitely playing in Utah too, Arizona, those summers, but I lose a lot of weight just because it was so hot and all that. So I was definitely a little smaller there. When I got to Utah, my first weigh-in was 268, so I was a lot smaller then. I just came in and I saw a lot of, just other schools too, a lot of people putting on the weight super fast and it kind of, putting it on the wrong way, and that kind of affecting them in the long run. And so I didn't want to do that. I took my time with it. All 3 years being there, I was putting on the weight. And so as soon as I got there, I was on Breakfast Club. I was on, the extra shakes that they'd give after lifts and all that. They just put me on, everything. And so a lot of eating, a lot of working out, building muscle, and definitely a progression of weight.
The other cool thing that he told me was that you would actually go to the coaches and ask for cut-ups. Instead of them making cut-ups for you, you would want them to do it for. What do you look for when you're watching the film? Like, what are the specific things that you wanted to look at?
Yeah, so Coach Harding, he made that so easy for us to come to him and ask for a cut-up. He said, you guys need anything. Come to me, I'll make it the cut-up. And so every time we needed something, every time I needed something, go and ask him. Also, our GA, Isaac Asiata, they made it super quick, exactly what we needed. So that was such a help and made it so easy. So that was awesome. And then just whatever I needed, if it was just pass rush of, the player, or if it was certain blitzes that they were doing, I was like, okay, I don't really know. Anything that we needed, he would make a cut up. And so that just helped so much because you're watching the specific thing that, you want to work on.
Caleb, you've been here all day. I'm sure you've gotten to meet a lot of your teammates over next door at the training facility. What are some of your first impressions about the guys and Drake May?
Yeah, so just like I was saying, I got a lot of texts after, draft day. Got some from Will Campbell, Drake May, and a lot of other players, and so that was awesome. I just missed a lot of them. Like, I came and I saw some leaving, but I didn't get to meet a lot of them. So hoping to meet them soon when they come back. But so far, it's been all positive. A lot of the wives and girlfriends are following my wife too on Instagram and all that. And so everything's just super welcoming already. We already feel at home, already feel so welcomed, of people texting us saying, if you need anything, help with, finding a house, places to eat, places to go, just let us know. And so it's been super, awesome having those people and just coming to help us.
That lineman room's, it's a good room.
It's a great room.
You're going to have a lot of fun with these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They really, they're
can
tight.
rack up a dinner bill.
Oh, yeah.
So be careful.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's, we talked a little bit about that. It's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah, they can do that, but they get along really well. You're gonna really enjoy it. Yeah, you're gonna get along fine. Yep.
We got to ask you about. I know the media asked you about your draft day dancing video. You have some moves, but I also saw your wife upload a video of you singing before you left. I'm not gonna lie, you weren't bad. You were pretty good. Are you very musically inclined?
No. I love.
Sure?
So I love singing in the car. I'll sing in the car. I saw her filming. Didn't think she was gonna post it, but she ended up posting it, which I don't really care. I was singing. I'll sing in the car. I'm not denying that. Yeah, exactly. And so I love to sing in the car. Just sing. I know I'm not good, but I still I like to do it on occasion. And so yeah, I saw her filming, so I was singing to her, but then she posted that.
Oh boy.
Okay, quite the romantic. Because you took your wife. I think if I saw correctly. Well, you didn't take her. You met her in France when she was studying abroad to propose. Do I have that right?
And so she went on to study abroad for Utah in Nice, France. And so, I mean, I've only been to Mexico out of the country. And so I was like, I'll come visit you and make a little trip out of it. And so she was in Nice, France. I met her in London. So I flew there, and then she took a train there. So we went to London, went to France, and then went back to where she was staying in Nice. And then the whole proposing thing was very stressful. I was by myself traveling with the ring. That was stressful.
Yeah.
Not wanting to lose that. And then we went to this city a little like an hour called Menton, and that's where I proposed. I was, during school leading up to that, I was, typing in photographers, places to propose. Probably wasn't paying attention in class a lot because I was trying to figure that out. But I was able to find this one lady that took pictures there, and was talking with her, and she, there's this great place. She said I did it on a rock, and I texted her, I was like, I'm a big guy, like I don't know if I'm going to fail on the rock. She's like, don't worry, there's a bigger rock that you can do it on. And so that is where I did it.
So were you old school? Did you talk to her father beforehand?
I did. So I took both her father and mom out to lunch.
Yeah.
And just talk with them. That might have been more stressful than the actual proposal part.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
I knew they would say yes, but there's in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, like I don't know. And so took them out to lunch, but they're the best. Talked to them. The father gave me a lot of great advice. Same with the mom, and so it was a great talk. Very stressful at first, trying to bring up that conversation, but once we got started going, it was.
So is she excited about is she going to move up here now, and you're going to buy a place or rent a place? What are you going to
Yeah, so that's the plan. She's coming up. Not sure exactly when, but she'll come up. We'll rent for the first year, and then we'll hopefully buy next year. Kind of just finding a place to where we want to settle in.
So is she familiar with the area at all?
No.
Wow. So
but it's weird because
she wanted to be here though, right?
She did want to be here.
Yeah.
Because she loved. She's seen so much about it. She loved how the team was. She was followed along with the Patriots a good amount, and so she wanted to come here. But she's been on Zillow looking for places and all that.
Well, listen, the plan is for you to be here a long time.
That's the plan.
Kids,
build
the
equity.
education system
Yep,
here,
exactly right.
good schools, good hospitals,
Exactly
good
right.
place to raise kids.
Exactly.
And
right.
underrated golf. You're a golfer, right?
I am a golfer. Yeah.
I
So
got to know, what's your carry? Like, I feel like you can just bomb it off the tee.
The tee, I can hit it pretty good. I can get
Okay.
a carry. I can get up to 320.
Wow.
I've done that before. But I can shoot anywhere. I could be really good, or I could very well be terrible.
That's
that's
all
kind
of
of
us.
how
So you're
golf
like all
goes.
of us.
Yeah, exactly. And so I
just
can,
like us.
I can have some good days, but majority of the days it's not. But I've heard there's some decent golf out here, and so I'm excited
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
to be able to, when it's not raining and snowing, to
Of
be able to
course.
get out and go play.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
absolutely.
got to get out there with Drake. He's a pretty good golfer.
I was just saying, I saw a video of him swinging, and he looked pretty good. So
And
Yeah.
Bryce, too. We went out with Bryce Beringer last year. He was trying to qualify for
right,
the Mass
really?
Amateur. So
Wow.
you got some good golfers on the
I'm
team.
sure there's plenty on the team. There's a lot of people who don't really talk about it, but secretly just are very good at golf.
So if there was another sport that you could play, what would your choice be?
Golf would definitely be one of them. I think
Okay.
golf would be the one where I'm like, I love football is my sport. The individual sports are fun though, because it's like, all right, if I mess up, then we're screwed. It's kind of just the same thing for football. If I mess up, it affects the whole team. But now, in those individual sports, if you mess up, it's just you. There's no one there to save you,
Right.
And so I did wrestling in junior high as well, and so
Yes,
golf was definitely the sport I would, because it's something you
Okay.
can play till you're.
Everybody
course.
wants me to talk to you about wrestling because I wrestled in college, and I wrestled for a guy who was Jim Peckham, who was in the college wrestling Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And so
Awesome.
they're like, "Oh, you should come in with your singlet." I'm like, "No, I'm not going to."
No one needed to see that.
Luckily, in junior high, we had shorts and a shirt. We did, and then my last year, we transitioned to the singlets.
But with the wrestling, how has that helped you as a tackle?
Well, the thing about I loved wrestling because it was it's just you and the other guy, and just like an offensive lineman, he has a move, and I have. It's really a lot of times I'll play defense, so he knows the moves he's going to try and do. A defensive end, he has move. Every defensive lineman knows the move they're going to do first. It's my job to counter that and either take that away immediately or kind of react to it. And so wrestling, that helped me a lot to be able to read moves that if he was going to shoot in quick, I'll be able to sprawl, get around him and all that. And so that helped with my reaction time and thinking quick, reacting quick off a certain move that he would do. So there's a lot of little things there's a lot of legal things that you wouldn't be able to do in football. They do in wrestling, like picking them up and throwing them. You can't really do that. But just the whole aspect of, the moves that they have, reading, reacting, and then being able to just overpower them is at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Yeah, exactly right.
Yep.
You and Gabe Akis are going to have some good wrestling matches, I'm sure. He's a pretty good wrestler.
Is he?
Yeah. He wrestled, I think he was a state champ.
Really?
In high school. So you guys can square
I
off.
was a state champ in junior high, but it was a little private school, so not much competition. But I still claim it.
There you go.
Hey, it's still a state champ. You had to get one run play called. What is it? It's outside zone, power. What are we calling?
Now, I love being able to get out in space, and so some pin pulls. I love doing that. So outside zone, I also love just being able to run off the ball, cut the guy off, and do all that. But opportunity to be able to pull out in space, I love doing. And so there's just one play, at Utah where pin pull action, tight end would come down, pin him down, I would pull around and go get the corner. So anything like that, I love doing. And then just basic football, inside zone, duo football. Moving a guy from point A to point B to the second level, making that hole from running back. That's old-fashioned football right there.
Who's a pro lineman you can watch his tape all day?
There's a few. I love Panay Sewell, especially watching him in the run game. He's very talented in what he does. He's a mauler. Not being on the Patriots, I love watching those tackles. Moses and Will Campbell. Will Campbell being a rookie last year, being able to watch him, kind of just knowing I'm going to go through that same experience. Him getting here, and then just a rookie, vet right tackles. Been able to watch him. So many guys great around the league. A former Utah player, Garrett Bowles. I've been able to watch him. He's a great player as well. So there's just so many guys I'm able to watch.
Do you feel like you mentioned Garrett? I've heard that comparison to you a couple of times just because of the Utah connection. Yeah. Do you see that at all? And what do you like about his game?
No, he's got a lot of games without a sack, giving up a sack. So he's a technician in what he does. And so I love that about him. If you know who he is, or if you've met him and been around him, that's the type of guy he is. Like he has a team, and he, very big team that always supports him, and he knows what he wants. He knows what he needs to do to, keep his body right, what he needs to do throughout the week to make him play the best of his ability. And so that's what I've taken away and loved from him, because he's very consistent in what he does. And as an offensive lineman or just football player in general, that's what you need to be, consistent in everything that you do.
All right, well, listen, we know that you got a lot more to do today. The car wash isn't done, but we appreciate you taking the time for us.
Appreciate you guys having me.
All right.
Great time.
Anytime,
Thank you.
Caleb.
Appreciate it, guys.
Caleb Lomu, everybody. Patriots first-round pick. All right, that was Caleb Lomu stopping by on Thursday. Thanks to him. And, PR was in the background going, wrap it up. We could have gone on forever. He was nice. Sometimes
seems like a personable kid.
You get the body language like, I want to go. But he was happy to sit there, and he would have sat and talked with us for as long as we wanted.
Yeah, one of the better ones that we've done since I've been here, I would say, just in terms of, just wanted to have a conversation. Like it wasn't very.
And Paul wasn't here.
Well, that helped, but it wasn't.
Shots at Paul already.
It wasn't like it didn't feel like I ask a question, he answers. There's a little bit of a back and forth in the conversation there.
Well, we're trying to take in the Jerry Madelon training, to get those off ramps,
Yeah, you had one with the hat. That was very good.
Right.
Very good off ramp.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. So I think he's going to fit in fine with the linemen, and excited about that. Jason LaConfora had a tweet today that
we saw you clapping back at him.
That.
I thought we weren't supposed to do that stuff.
Well, listen, I didn't really say much. I just said, I just offer this for everyone's consumption, but he's saying that analysts, the experts are saying there's going to be a major regression for the Patriots this year.
Well, that's relative, right? Like major regression from 14 wins might mean what? 10 wins?
10 and 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Or 8 wins or 9 wins.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, that's not saying that they're going to go back to 4 and 13, but it's definitely a tougher schedule. Maybe not as tough as you hear from some people, but tougher for sure. And, it's only natural that there might be some regression, but there's other teams that have gotten to the point the Patriots were at or similar, and then they use that as a stepping stone. And, like the Detroit Lions, they're never bad again, like they're
certainly, there's been a lot of teams that lose the Super Bowl and just kind of really have a bad year the next year. I look at the Chargers, the year that they lost to the 49ers, I think, in the Super Bowl, or I forget who they lost to, but they.
But the Super Bowl loser rarely makes the playoffs the following year.
Right.
Even the Patriots didn't make the playoffs one year after they.
Oh,
it was the year that Brady tore his ACL, so there's a huge asterisk there. But
Oh, I thought you were talking about 0-1.
well,
That's true.
That's another one.
that's another one.
I mean, I think
That's a better comparison.
that-
But the
that's
01 Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Sure, that fair.
point.
That has mitigated itself a little bit in recent years. Like the Eagles lost the Super Bowl and then won the very next year.
Yeah, but
So
even Kansas City lost the Super Bowl, and then for the first time in forever didn't make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I think so. Is it fair to say that recently, or in the last 20 years, in order to make the Super Bowl, not just win it, but to make it, you need to be a pretty solid team. You can't be a fluke and make the Super Bowl in the NFL anymore.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that?
I don't know about that. I think
In
there's
other words,
teams
if you
that
make the Super Bowl,
things
you've got a
fall
decent
into place
team.
for you a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a lot of teams that are sort of capable of making the playoffs that are in kind of a similar basket. And then, health, spot, health of the opponent, weather, the other team's quarterback doesn't play in the conference championship. These kinds of factors can kind of put a team over the top.
Yeah.
There could be some flukiness to that.
Yeah, I mean the last one especially was.
Yeah, I mean,
incredibly
I'm
lucky.
not honestly, that wasn't meant to be a Paul Snarkism. I don't want to come
mean,
out.
it's just
I
a
don't want to
fact.
come right out of the chutes with the snark. But I do think, like in recent years, Fred, to your point, Kansas City, San Francisco, Philadelphia, those teams have been consistently pretty good.
Yeah.
Those are the teams that have been in the Super Bowl.
There's definitely a better recent
recently.
track record.
Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl, and then
Well, they went back to the AFC title game.
1 year later, and haven't been back to the playoffs since.
Yeah. There's been a little bit of a better history of it recently. Like I would say, from like 1980 to 2000, it was horrible. Like that was really when it was like the Super Bowl hangover thing sort of became a mythology and all that kind of stuff. The last, I would say 5 to 10 years, it's been better. Not necessarily losing the Super Bowl and then going and winning it, but losing it and not falling off the cliff the next year has been a little bit better. But I think a lot of those teams have the same thing in common where they were like a younger team to begin with and maybe got some breaks to get there in the first place. And then you have, you're not going to fall off a cliff completely when you have Joe Burrow as your quarterback. Like if he's healthy, you're going to be pretty good. The Eagles had a great roster, lost the first time, won the second time, that sort of thing. So maybe a little bit of hope there in terms of recent history.
So other than, wow, Drake May looks mentally even better this summer than he did last year, what are indicators before the season starts, the regular season starts, that you will need to see in order for you to say they're going to be at least as competitive? I'm not saying they'll go to the Super Bowl, but at least as a team, they'll be as competitive as they were last year.
Trading for A.J. Brown.
That's going to happen.
According
to Jim Murray, he's tweeting out that he's talking to rental properties.
If that happens, then I think you feel pretty good about them being good again. I don't know in terms of like what you see at practice. I'm not sure you will.
So is there anything you say, no, I won't be able to tell until 5 weeks into the season?
I'm not saying I won't be able to tell. I guess more just like, some of the concerns are more about what's going to happen in season with attrition than they are about, do they have the talent?
I think that's a great point.
To be a good team
Sure.
again. If the people get hurt in certain places.
And that's why I said, and I was being honest. I'm not trying to be snarky. That's why it can be kind of fluky.
Yeah.
Is all of a sudden the following year, like we mentioned Cincinnati 2 seconds ago. Yeah, like they didn't just fall apart. Their quarterback has had a hard time staying healthy in recent seasons, and it's affected their one-loss record. Those kinds of things can happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're not.
I think
So, like, I don't know in practice at training camp, I can say, like, boy, Drake May really looks like he's even better than. I don't know if I'm going to notice that in practice.
But what if, and again, health. I always exclude health because that's the
to me,
that's
it
the
comes
wild
down to
card.
Drake May.
Yeah.
Like, what is he going to be
But,
like?
but what
in-
if you see in practice, like, oh my God, he and A.J. Brown,
Yeah.
they are hooking up, and it really looks like Dobbs is fitting in. And like, if you see, like, are those the kind of things that you might see in spring that would you would be confident to say, this is the kind of thing that leads to a good season.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, like obviously, if you have AJ Brown and Romeo Dobbs on the team, and they're lighting up practice with both of those guys catching passes from Drake May, then that's going to feel good. You're going to feel optimistic until they have a team that they're playing, though, like on the other side, whether it's a joint practice or a real game.
And they will have two of those.
And I'm going to be the ultimate fraud, because I'm going to tell you that as we're going through training camp and we're talking about this stuff every day, and Evan and I are going to be with Mike, and we're going to do our podcast, our training camp podcast.
One of my favorite things we do.
We're going to be talking about, this is unbelievable. This rapport is developing with May and Brown. I don't think it matters, but I'm going to tell you it matters when we're doing it every day.
That type of stuff
I don't think it
matter
matters until you see them doing against other teams.
Well,
I would say that stuff matters a little bit more than like, Eli Raridan is like tearing up practice. Like that when like you have a rookie or a back end of the roster guy, Efton Chisholm looks like he's taking another step, right? Or whatever, like that type of stuff. I think we get to the regular season and the guys you expected to play kind of play.
No, I know.
And the other guys
I mean, and again, preseason games and practices rarely, are they always really good indicators? But the year that Randy Moss came, it looked different, and
he didn't even practice.
But the short time that he was in practice, you could tell. Oh my God,
that's why
he was different.
That's kind of actually my whole point of why I don't think it's all that important. Like he didn't do anything, and then
what do you mean
opening day he caught like 9,000.
No, I know, but
touchdowns.
We saw it the short time that he did practice, we could tell, and then the year that they got absolutely demolished by the Eagles in that joint practice, it turns out that was a good indicator.
I do think there's value in the joint practices. I think you see stuff against, you won't know until you see it against another team.
Right.
I do think joint practice tells you something.
The guys that you're projecting to be starters and be frontline players, those guys, I don't know how much you're really going to tell in the summer. There's always like the Efton Chisholms who make those roster pushes, and you get into the season and he's inactive for 90% of the games, right? Like that's the type of stuff that I would say we probably talk about a lot in the media that ends up not necessarily mattering once the real games come around.
That's why I said I'm going to be upfront and say I'm going to be a fraud about this, because it is important all summer when we're out there every day. We're telling you what we see every day, and we are going to talk about these things. And on Tuesday, July, 29th or whatever the date happens to be, if AJ Brown is, creating separation all over the field, we're going to tell you he looks good, he's moving well, appears to be picking up the offense quickly, stuff like that. And there'll be value in that. Again, I don't know how much value until I see him do it in the regular season against real teams.
Yeah, and I would say at the tackles, like Will Campbell. You worry a tiny bit about, Will Campbell's had a great summer, but it's because the Patriots edge rushers aren't really all that great, right? And then he gets into a game against a team with really good edge rushers, and he faces, whoever, and they play Seattle, and he gets beat by Seattle again. And then it's like, okay, well, was that more about what he was going up against in practice? And I think we've seen that at different times. Remember, there was one summer where it might have been Gerard Mayo's year where Mike Onwenu went on like an insane unbeaten streak in one-on-ones. He was like 19 or 20-0 out of the gate in one-on-ones. It turned out that their D tackles just weren't very good.
That good. Yeah.
Now this is the inverse problem. Like now they have Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, so those guys are good. But the edge rushers, you're only going up against the guys that are on your current team. So like, are these guys really that good? Or are they just not really facing guys that are very good?
Right. So, all right, but that I'm going to be watching closely. We'll all be watching closely for those little signs that, wow, there might be something going on, good or bad.
Yeah, Vera Tucker at left guard. Just his presence, like being in the lineup every day. Like Morgan Moses is probably going to be on some sort of a program. What does it look like at left guard?
Yeah.
And then in turn, what does Jared Wilson look like at center?
Yeah.
These are little things. And again, it might be a little bit more subtlety because it's offensive line play. We're not necessarily breaking it down the way we would a receiver's production. But are they out there? Are they taking all the reps all the time? That means they're healthy, ready to go, up to speed. Those will all be good signs.
You're worried?
No, I wonder
if
he's going to be on some sort of program.
The way he
because
sounded, yeah.
it hasn't worked for him to stay healthy for 4 or 5 years in the NFL. Maybe Frank Perino and that staff we have here have a different approach that can keep him healthier. I think.
Well, here's my tip.
Yeah.
Here's my advice to whether it's Frank or anyone else on the team. Whatever the Jets did, do the opposite.
Well, I think that goes without saying. But they also, who knows why, if there is a reason why, but they've had a good track record of these pitch counts working. Worked last year for Morgan Moses, but there are also other guys on the roster that were more veteran players. Like, we didn't always see Hunter Henry, take every single rep, and we didn't always see some guys like that take every single rep, and it did seem to, Harold Landry, for the most part, it worked going into the season. So hopefully they can figure out things like that. But, with A.J. Brown, if he's here, Diggs looked like he was different when he was practicing too. Now that he would kind of turn it on and off.
Yep.
Like there were times where he'd kind of coast in practice because he doesn't really need to be 100% tilt all the time. But what he felt like, oh, this is a day that we're gonna come out here and we're gonna put on a show. Especially when we were in Minnesota for those joint practices because it was his old team. He went out there on the first day and nobody could cover him. I mean, he was creating like yards of separation. And that was like, okay, we haven't seen this in a Patriot uniform in a while. You don't normally see that here. So there are little things like that with a player of A.J. Brown's caliber that you can see.
All right, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. So it's all on the table. It's an off-season program, so we'll talk Patriots. Or if you want to follow up from Thursday's epic show that Paul wasn't at, we can talk about that. Paul has any questions or things to add?
I apologize, everybody.
Yeah, Paul was in Italia. We're going to talk about that as well, probably after the break, but we'll get into it all.
It was fun. We don't have to talk about it.
Why not?
No, I mean,
you want to talk about
people
it?
are overly interested in. I mean,
I think
absolutely.
I think people
I think
are
they're much
absolutely
more fascinated about your construct of time
Space
than
and
they would
time.
be.
I think
Continuum.
people are interested in your take on Italy. Absolutely.
Very. As
You went to
you're-
Florence. You went to
motherland.
Rome.
In all seriousness, one of the very first things I saw was a Perillo bus tour.
There you go.
Tour bus.
There you go.
You're
Perillo
a real
Tours
paisan
bus.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Herm's in D.C. What's up, Herm?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen?
Hey.
I hope you had a good vacation, Paul.
I did. Thank you,
Quick
Herm.
question. Yeah, of course. So quick question for you all, and then I'll take it off there. So, obviously, A.J. Brown obviously led the team in receptions, led the team in yards, and all that. He won. And you might have talked about it before, and obviously he won a Super Bowl and all that. So my question to you all is this. If you were to get traded to us, right, what would guarantee that, I mean, he would be happy? Because ultimately, if I was a receiver and I lead the team in reception and I lead the team in yards and I win the Super Bowl, I couldn't understand why I would not be happy. So my question is, I mean, what would give you guys the confidence they'll be happy here? Yes, obviously it'll be reunited with Coach Vrabel, but from a pure football standpoint, I don't see what the issue was. That's kind of like my personal hesitation on, obviously the talent is
No.
What's your question?
No, it's a good
Herm.
question. Why is he going to be happy here if he hasn't been happy in seemingly from afar a pretty good situation?
Well, I would just say,
Thank you, Paul. And I'll take it off the air.
Okay, thanks,
yeah,
Herm.
my take on that is purely a take. I have not talked to A.J. Brown about this, but their offense last year was a kind of a train wreck schematically, and the offensive coordinator lost his job, and it was not a pretty situation there.
But he's been unhappy for a while, and their offense hasn't always been a train.
But I think it's more usage related than it is volume related.
I think it's personal. I don't think he likes I almost called him
Sirianni?
Donovan. Yeah, but I don't
Jalen
think he
Hurts.
likes Jalen Hurts.
Jalen
Well,
Hurts.
I think maybe we're saying the same thing differently.
Yeah.
I don't think the way that they kind of used him was probably catering to Jalen Hurts, and it made him a very one-dimensional kind of receiver. Like 50% of his targets last year were on hitches and go routes. So he was running wind sprints outside, and every 2 or 3, 5, whatever snaps, they throw him a ball down the field and see if he can make a contested catch on a go ball. I think he probably felt like they were kind of not using him to his fullest potential in terms of his role within the offense. And I think that relates to Jalen Hurts because of the type of quarterback that Jalen Hurts is. So even though the volume, you had 121 targets last year, the volume looks like they checked the box. Their offense and the way they played him, he was glued to the sideline all the time. He's outside. He's running down the field a lot and not getting a lot of targets, like in terms of where he wanted to get them. And I think that might be sort of where some of that.
Yeah, I agree with Evan. And I would also add, just like Evan just said, we're not covering Philadelphia. So we're by no means are we trying to tell you what we're saying about A.J. Brown and his mentality and his, whatever his feelings there. We don't know. We're not there. We're not privy to all those details. We're going by some of these stories that we've read that have been pretty detailed.
Yeah.
About
especially the Jalen Hurts
about
stuff.
The dysfunction.
I hope though
within, and it seems like there's a disconnect between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts.
I hope if he gets here and he talks to the media the first time and they ask him about that Philly situation, I hope he elects to just say,
I just hope he's asked about it.
Yeah, I'm a Patriot and that's what I'm focused on. I hope he doesn't get into any details about that.
Well, I don't necessarily need him to get into details about the drama that may or may not be happening between him and Jalen Hurts, but I think it's an interesting conversation about the numbers would tell you that he had a huge role in the offense, but his frustration would tell you that he felt like he was misused. So, like, what was it about how they were using him that he didn't like?
Well, would you say that
we don't want to do that again?
Well,
right?
just from the amount of Eagles games that I saw, I would have to agree with him in that there was that volume, but it didn't seem in the critical parts of the game. It didn't seem like he was part of winning or losing. You know what I mean? It was just like, okay, it's time to throw to A.J. Brown now. Let's check that box.
When they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
2 years ago. We're talking about last year.
He was pissed when they won the Super Bowl. This is not a new thing.
Well, I'm just talking about last year, what it seemed to me.
I think when the game was on the line, in the playoff game, when they got knocked out, they were throwing the ball to him. Yeah. Him and Devontae Smith are the two volume guys in that offense. Like, I think it's more along the line what Evan's talking about. I think it's one thing to just say and look, box score analysis and say, well, geez, he had 6 for 90 yards and he got targeted 13 times. What's he so pissed about? But if it's the way Evan's talking about, and you just sort of asking him to do the same things because Jalen Hurts refuses to throw the ball where?
Through the middle of the field.
Between the numbers. Maybe that you're really limited a guy's sort of repertoire.
I mean,
that's what I saw.
But I think it's personal. I just don't think he likes the quarterback. I think the quarterback has rubbed a lot of people, again, going off of things I've read, not conversations I've had with anybody. I want to be upfront about that. I'm just going off of stuff that I've read. It seems like the quarterback is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way there. Yeah. And that's causing some problems.
Yeah, I mean, and look, it's been 4 or 5 years since he was in Tennessee, but the A.J. Brown that I remember in Tennessee is catching balls over the middle and running with them afterwards, right? Like he's catching
the DK Metcalf play that Pittsburgh had last year a little bit with him.
Slants, crossing routes, things over the middle of the field, and
big strong guy who can run once
and he's a running back with the ball in his hands, and he's just off. And in the Eagles offense, like I've watched most of his tape from last year already, and it's like hitch, go.
That's what we have to hope for.
Go. Hitch, go. And it's like, if you're a guy like A.J. Brown, after a while, it's like, I can do other things.
Ask him to do some more things, and maybe you get a more productive player, and then hopefully that leads to a happier player. And you don't have any of this sort of
and I think a lot of it stems, they used A.J. Brown as more of, I maybe decoy's a little bit strong, but they were trying to lighten the box for Saquon Barkley. And 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, it worked like gangbusters. Last year didn't work quite as much. But, when you have that threat of A.J. Brown outside the numbers, defenses have to account for that. They either have to put number one corners or safety help or whatever, and then, you're bringing guys in hats out of the box, and then you're running the ball like they did 2 years ago with Barkley. So he had a very important role and has a very important role in terms of, you need somebody like that to be a threat out there, but I don't know if he was necessarily used to his full capacity. Now, the other side of that coin is that he's declining and that he's not the same player anymore. But it's hard to tell when, all he's doing is...
Does Josh McDaniels have to change anything with how he runs an offense if A.J. Brown is on it?
No, I don't think so. I think he's a pretty good fit. I think that McDaniels will probably move him around the formation quite a bit more than what he did in Philadelphia, which I think will be a good thing. Last year he only played 12% of his routes out of the slot. He was 88% of the time he was running routes outside the numbers or outside the formation. Like, I think at this stage of his career, he might not have that elite top end speed. So moving him inside a little bit more and letting him use his strength and his size and his body and stuff like that might actually unlock a different dimension and help a little bit more. The Eagles just didn't really do that. That wasn't really a big part of their offense. So I think things like that actually, Josh McDaniels probably going to sit there and say, I'm going to add routes to your route tree. I'm going to make you a more complete player here, closer to maybe what he was in Tennessee, and you're going to be even better for it. And I think that's sort of the hope.
Anthony writes in, excuse me, hearing all the off-season shows have made me realize I can pretty much listen to you guys talk about anything. I once came here for Patriots talk, but I stay for the vibes and Patriots talk. But the question is Kyle Williams remaining number 18 something or nothing?
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't want to put anybody on blast, but we did tweet out a picture of Kyle Williams wearing a number 8 jersey. That was us. Like, we tweeted that out. And that was usually an indication that he's switching numbers. Okay. And then last night, Mike Reese reported that he's going to stick with, after some thought, he's going to stick with 18. That obviously started all of the conspiracy theories of, well, is 8 coming back? Stephon Diggs, right?
Right.
Is he keeping 8 open for a certain someone? But I have no idea if those things
Could
are
you
connected.
see a world in which they've got Dobbs, A.J. Brown, and Stephon Diggs?
Nope.
No, I'm with Paul, but not, because I don't think they're going to pay all 3 of those guys. But
and I don't think just to be clear, I don't think they should. I think that's way too much for one position.
If it's
particularly 2 guys in their 30s.
But if you're just giving Diggs something for to have him play this year, kind of like the contract they gave him last year,
I would more worry about.
Would be fun.
Diggs and Brown are
coexisting.
They're ultra alphas, number ones. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want it.
I think it would be.
And
great.
I think it's almost. I never say never with anything because too many things have been stunning to me. The Cleveland Browns look like they have every intention right now of having Deshaun Watson be their starting quarterback. I would have told you, after the second time he tore the Achilles, that he's not ever going to play again. So I don't say never, but I'd be very, very surprised.
I think that, is there a chance that that Diggs is sort of a hedge or a backup plan in case the A.J. Brown thing doesn't happen? I think that's probably more realistic, right? Like, the A.J. Brown thing for some reason falls through.
Would you lose your mind if that happened, all 3 of them?
It'd be pretty good. It'd be a pretty good offense. I mean, Diggs at this stage last year was playing 55, 60% of his snaps in the slot anyways. So, he's a guy.
How many times would you have to throw the ball each game to keep them all happy?
I mean, you have Drake May, so throw it 50 times for all I care. That would be as good of weapons as they've had in
because league-wide, I know Tom Brady was okay, but most teams that throw the ball over 50 times lose.
Well, they're not going to throw it 50 times, but I would say on paper,
like a $20 million secondary afterthought, in Romeo Dobbs.
Well, if you're funneling it through the receivers, though, he's not you can still get the ball to all 3 guys. On paper, that would be the best that they've looked offensively since 2017, probably, with Cooks and Edelman and Gronk.
Absolutely.
And obviously Edelman didn't play eventually, but I mean, that would be one of the best skill position groups they've had in a long, long time.
Yeah, it'd be something. It'd be challenging, though, because like I said, to give them all their looks, and for Josh McDaniels.
I could be alone. Genius often walks alone. I can be the lone dissenter. I want no part of that. I don't think it would work. I think it would be a disaster.
It could be. Yeah, possibility.
But you guys are right.
Yeah.
And Evan just brought up an example of, an embarrassment of riches back. It was at 17.
Yeah,
16,
fortunately, we
17.
never got to see it.
There's a lot of good receivers. I just don't, I don't think the alpha ego mentality was as prevalent.
Arthur's in New York on the hotline. Hey, Arthur.
How's it going? I had a question about just the cornerback room on the team. Obviously, we have the top three corners in Jones, Carlton Davis, and Gonzo, but beyond that, I'm a little bit worried. Who do you expect among the other corners outside of those guys to have the biggest impact? And would you consider targeting a free agent? Like Kenny Moore just got released by the Colts. You still got Trayvon Diggs out there who kind of graded out as a league average corner, but right now a league average corner would be important for us to add things.
Well, especially at 4 deep. Yep.
L'Jarius Sneed is out there as well, and I don't know who to trust. Like, I don't want to be a Karen, but we drafted this guy Karen in the 5th round, and he wasn't in the top 400 on anybody's board. Charles Woods was a special teamer last year, and Kindle Vildor has been a bounce-around 5th, 6th cornerback option on these teams. And I feel like cornerback's a position where very rarely does the room remain healthy throughout the whole year. There are often injuries. Do you think the Patriots will look to add?
Okay, good question.
I'd be interested in
Do you have your
kicking the
depth chart
tires.
out?
I don't think that they'll sink much money into a 4th corner, but I wouldn't. L'Jarius Sneed's a guy that I would kick the tires to see what his health situation is. Trayvon Diggs, I'm not interested in at all. He was one of the worst. I don't think he was a league. I mean, I don't know what PFF said, but he was one of the worst corners in football.
Couldn't get on the
year.
field for one of the worst defenses in the league.
So I don't know what's available. I don't know if
I'm not as
Well,
concerned.
is
about
there a
those other
need?
people.
Is there a need
no,
to
I
go
think
out?
Charles Woods, when he played last year, which admittedly was not a lot, but when he did play, I thought he competed well. I thought he handled a 4th corner spot reasonably well. I'm not overly concerned about that. However, the last thing that the caller said is accurate. How often do you keep 3 guys like that? And 2 of those guys in particular, well, actually all 3 of them have injury histories. In Gonzo, Marcus Jones, and Carlton Davis. They've all were pretty healthy last year, but that's kind of an anomaly for all 3 of them. So I wouldn't feel as good if one of those guys was out, say, for the season.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, but most teams don't go 4 deep with quality
Right.
corners.
I agree.
You know?
I agree.
Yeah, I think that these concerns that we're starting to spin back into like first world problems.
It means you're good.
Yeah,
Again.
which is a good thing.
Yes.
But we're talking about, at corner if they lose one of their top 3 guys, or at linebacker if they lose Robert Spillane, or at safety they really only go too deep with Woodson and Byard right now. And do we trust Del Pettis as the 3rd safety or somebody else? Like, these are first world problems. Like, you have a really good cornerback trio. I don't know, like, if those veteran guys, if they get into training camp and somebody gets hurt and they need to replace someone long term, if someone comes up with an actual injury, then maybe you kick the tires on a Sneed or whoever, one of these veteran corners. But as of right now, I'd rather see some of these young players that they brought in the last 2 years have a chance at some reps in training camp, and let's see if Caleb Prunty was this year's Craig Woodson. Like, maybe he is. They had him in the 5th round, and everybody else was wrong. He's a better player than that. Let's see what Kendall Vildor, who's played a little bit on defense in his NFL career, can do. Does Charles Woods take another step, after being acquired, kind of late in the process last year? I'd rather do that than, go to the free agent well right now. If we get to the end of August and Carlton Davis goes down and he's going to miss half the season, then, maybe you revisit it then.
Travis in West Virginia writes in, if your intention was to make me doze off, you didn't need to play the Lomu interview. You could have just taken a call from Pat Nagawam. Either way, mission accomplished. Well, F you, Travis.
Wow.
I'm only kidding. So I didn't think it was boring.
I thought he seemed like a personable
Yeah.
kid. You know me, Freddie.
Just get to know him a little
I'm not a
bit.
huge interviews guy.
Just welcoming him to the building. That's all.
I thought he seemed like a personable kid. And I thought you guys did a good. Like, I thought the story that you asked him, just kind of a silly thing about the hats, though.
Yeah.
People, because I have heard that a lot. Oh, they obviously knew they were taking them.
Right.
No, they get every hat. And he
We
explained.
could have lined them up, and I could have done hand work with them and stuff. I don't know. Would you have liked that better, Travis?
Maybe I could have put him in a right tackle pass set and
Yeah,
seen how he kicked out.
Next time, I'll tell you what. When we're going to have a player on, we'll email you,
now,
Travis,
why are you being like
and
that?
you can tell us how to spruce it
Why
up.
are you being like that?
Because
why are you being all defensive?
Because I want to be. Because I just feel like it.
Why are you being all defensive? Like some random, national NFL has-been
How?
tweets out that the Patriots are going to have a fall this year, and you get your panties in a bunch.
Defend the wall, Paul.
Like,
defend the wall.
What are we doing? No descending. Jason Leconfor is a national has-been.
Yeah,
he was on CBS like 10 years ago or 20, 15 years ago.
I like the Patriots. I want to defend them. That's all.
I didn't say that you shouldn't feel like they're going to be better than he says, but what makes you what compels you to do something that we've kind of been told not to do?
Because when I see injustice, I have to speak out.
I like that we keep dropping that in there.
Sure.
The rules don't apply to the big cheese.
Oh, ain't that the truth?
All right. We're going to take a break. Lots of emails coming in on various subjects. Plus, we have to talk to Paul about his trip to Italy, his first time out of the country that wasn't Patriots related, right?
No, my first time to Europe that wasn't Patriots related.
Okay.
I've been to Canada.
Okay, I was going to say Canada doesn't count.
Canada counts. It's a
no,
different
it
country.
doesn't.
Sure, it
Been to
does.
the Bahamas.
No, it doesn't.
Does that Bahamas count?
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. Bahamas
You had to
for
get on a
vacation.
plane.
That is true. I didn't fly to Canada.
Yeah, I figured.
All right, we'll be right back.
Thanks for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
Come welcome our newest restaurant additions at Patriot Place. Estella brings a celebration of flavors with a modern fusion menu, exciting cocktails, and brunch available daily beginning at 11 a.m. Enjoy freshly brewed coffee and Mediterranean-inspired breakfast and lunch from Angel's Cafe. Craving the classics? Chick-fil-A makes it easy to grab your favorite with mobile through, carry-out, and dine-in options. Download the Patriot Place Advantage app for special offers and to earn rewards every time you visit. Patriot Place. Shop, dine, enjoy.
The heaviest metal credit card of all time. Wielded at business dinners like a samurai sword. It's a classic corporate power move. But the real power move? Having end-to-end visibility on your most critical shipments. FedEx, the new power move.
Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
Trying to make it, you know. So my name is John Miller from Tyler, Texas. And one fun fact about me is I recently got engaged to my fiance the day after Valentine's. Thank you. So I met her my freshman year in college, and we started dating September 10th. Yeah, so going into our, fifth year now, in September?
College, you guys go to school forever now.
Yes.
Where'd you get the name Jam from?
So really, nobody didn't know how to say my name correctly, so people would be like, Jamarian, or they'll say it some other type of way, and I try to, another fun thing, a funny thing about it was high school, the announcement you score something, they say Jamarian Miller, I even had a family member go up there, and try to correct him, and it steady went on the whole year, and then it became my senior year, my head coach, he was like, you know what, I'm gonna just start calling you Jam. Then it started getting around the building, and then just more people just started calling me that, so I just started to stick with it.
How do you actually say it?
Jamarian. So it's a yin, not a yan. Yeah.
How do you feel like today went?
Today went good. New. Everybody says it's like a sponge. You're trying to learn a whole new offense. And just you got to take it day by day, watch film, and study the playbook.
Across some of the other rookies in years past, guys have talked about the rookie class kind of coming together and bonding as you. Have you guys had a chance to do something like that so far? I know it's relatively early in the process, but.
As of right now, not just yet, because as soon as we get here, we hit the ground running. But we take it day by day, trying to learn each play. Trying to learn their name, where they from.
How would you describe your draft experience?
It was a great experience from the start of going to the combine to getting drafted. Overall, I'm just blessed to be in this situation. And what people say, it's thousands of millions other kids, want to be in position that I am and everybody else in. And, it's just a blessing to be in this position.
And how about on that Saturday, that third day, we're getting toward the end there. Can you share what your mindset was that day and what your reaction was to getting the call?
Man, it was priceless. To be honest, I wasn't expecting it. It was late in that round. If I got drafted or I become a free agent, no matter what, wherever team I go to, I'm going to just go out there and just bust my tail off just to earn a spot.
Your last year, team-wise, you struggled a little bit offensively, struggled running the football. And I know you dealt with the injury. Can you just kind of take us through that year? It felt like it was maybe a little bit frustrating for you guys as a group.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Me personally, doing all them injuries, dislocated collarbone before the start of the season and late in the season, ankle sprain or what so. But I feel like at that time, you just got to do what you got to do just to help the team as much as possible to win.
What did you learn about yourself going through that?
You just got to stay true to yourself, focus on what you got to do. First, make sure you're healthy, make sure you train the room, do whatever you can to make sure your body healthy.
How did the collarbone thing happen?
Oh, man. So I had the ball, of course, and as I'm running out to the outside, it was a safety, and I believe it was a DN came and tackled me. And running back, you got to have the ball high and tight. So I landed straight on the ball. So as soon as I landed on the ball, I didn't actually feel like a pop or anything, but I got up, and I'm thinking it's my shoulder. Thinking I done did something with my shoulder, telling the trainer it's my shoulder or something. Then I started to feel it over here, and I'm like, shoot. So now I'm holding my arm. I'm not trying to be a weak person or something. I'm trying to let practice finish, then go to the trainers or what so. But they end up getting me and pulling me out and fixing it or what so.
So both of those injuries were your senior season or with the collarbone before?
So the
final season.
Yeah, so the collarbone was before the season, and then, yeah.
Was it like in a summer league game or something like how did, because it was before, but you said like the safety came out.
Yeah, it was during fall camp. Yeah.
You've been tabbed for having a lot of speed. Just how much do you want to showcase that and have that be a big part of your game?
Whatever position they put me in, if it's blocking, running, route running, whatever, I'm going to just, at the end of the day, I'm going to do what I got to do just to let this team win.
What have been your first impressions of Josh McDaniels' offense?
Love it. Great offense. Like what I said, whatever position he put me in, I'm going to take full advantage of it and execute.
Jim, you don't have a lot of carries when you look at your body of work in college. You were in a timeshare for most of that time. Do you think that gives you an advantage as you come into the NFL now where your body is fresher?
Can you repeat that question again? I'm sorry.
So when you look at your time at Alabama, obviously you were in a timeshare, so you didn't have as many carries as some guys that come into the league. Do you think that gives you an advantage where you feel that you're fresher physically?
I don't feel like it give me an advantage. You got other great running backs, other players. Everybody here is to earn a spot, earn a job. And if you injured, fresh, or what so, if you're the best, you're gonna play and start.
Not sure how deep you've gotten to get into the playbook, but were you surprised at all by how many responsibilities backs have here in pass protection, and how does that maybe compare to what you were asked to do in college?
Yeah, of course it's new, going from college to the league, and I would say you got to be a sponge, now you're trying to learn a whole new offense, learn everybody else type of style, and then they just got to be a sponge.
What's it like? You said you just recently got engaged, to be able to share the draft experience and kind of the start to a new, chapter with your fiance.
It's a blessing. Me and her both being from the South. We get a chance to come up northeast or up to the north. And I'm loving it. I get to travel, experience new things around here. Thank you. Thank you.
And now, great moments in history.
Have any resolution as to how it's going to be for everybody, us, continue our inside baseball stuff?
What do you mean for us?
Where are we going to be?
Yeah, where are we going to be? What are we going to do? Box.
You just say that. Yesterday you said you didn't know exactly how that was going to work.
Stacy said those who were in the red press box
Blue.
in-house. Blue, I mean.
We're blue.
Oh, he's going to. Those who were in the blue press box for in-house will be in the blue press box.
But are they going to do spacing up there?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're not going to be crowded in our
Well, just think, there's going to be no visiting
Why are
media.
you answering his question seriously from me? You just blew me right off.
Well, just think about it.
That's what I'm asking you.
Eric, you'll be spaced out as normal.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. Fred writes in from Montreal. He says, when is the long-awaited 10-part documentary Forged in Mike Dussault coming out? Speaking of Forged in Foxborough, that'll be coming out Friday. So Season 2, Episode 1, coming out Friday. Can't wait for that. And, of course, the schedule will be coming out on Thursday. So be around your computers around 7:30 Thursday night for some good stuff.
No leaks.
We'll get all our questions will be answered on Thursday. So
what do you guys
Lots
think
of speculation on that schedule.
What do you guys think of what's become of the schedule release? And
you don't want my thoughts.
Well, I more mean I'll ask the people, do fans genuinely care, or
the numbers say yes,
or do we care
about what?
And that has about the actual schedule, not about the content, but about the schedule.
I don't think they care at all about the content, but I think they care about the schedule because they want to make their travel plans.
I think both.
Maybe
why
it's
can't
that.
both be true?
I just find it
I think the schedule release stuff jumped the shark about 15 years ago.
Yeah, but the numbers say no.
Yeah, I know.
What do you mean you know?
I have a lot of things that I could show you that are good numbers that are horrific product.
Well, whether it's horrific or not doesn't mean they don't care.
No, I don't think they want it. They want to know Evan's point.
Yeah, but
if you just put the schedule,
you don't
up,
need
they
to
will get the
watch
same
our
numbers.
video to get the schedule. It's going to be on Patriots.com. But they still watch all the videos.
But that's the first place that you get it.
And all the networks, ESPN will play them. And
that wasn't really what I meant. I more meant the.
That's all inside baseball.
Yes.
And that's why the numbers are what they are. Is that. If they didn't do that, the numbers wouldn't be like that.
I just more meant the actual schedule. I find it interesting because, for people like us, and this isn't complaining or anything, but that kind of sets our schedule of our life for 5-6 months.
But I do think there's a lot of interest,
it's huge.
though, Ev.
Right, but for a fan, only thing I ever cared about when I was a fan was the opener. Who are they playing in the opener was interesting to me. Where the bye week was, maybe just from a wins and losses standpoint, might be a factor. But it has become a
there's a small subset of fan bases that actually travel.
Yeah,
so for
and
them,
I do think that there's a lot of interest in that.
Yeah.
I agree with Fred
Fair
on
enough.
that. But I think people want to know Nashville, Miami, New Orleans. These destination kind of places. Before I worked for Fred, I always went to the Jets game.
Yeah.
And then one year the Jets game fell in a spot that it just wasn't convenient. So we ended up going to Buffalo that year. That kind of stuff. I went out to San Diego one year.
Yeah.
So you want to know when they are. You want to get plane reservations and stuff like that. You want to get situated as soon as you can. I think there's a lot of interest in that.
Well, there's also the fans that stay local. It's a couple fans. We go to one game a year at Gillette. So they want to know, once the schedule comes out, they decide which one. Then if you're a season ticket member, you want to know, okay, what's the schedule? Which ones am I going to put up for sale? I'm not going to go to
a lot
all
of people do not like to go. A lot of season ticket holders, as an example, do not like to go to the night games.
Right.
I have one of my very best friends, one of my golfing buddies, has been a season ticket holder as long as I've worked here. He refuses to go to night games. So he wants to know when those are so he can get rid of them
Sure.
quickly.
I guess I was more thinking, is this like a chicken or the egg situation where it's important to us, the media, and it's important to the teams. So then it becomes like this like whole marathon schedule release thing, which kind of generates.
I give the NFL
beast.
credit for that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do. I know exactly what you mean, but I do give the NFL credit for making it into a big thing.
I mean, there's like
they
drip
do
by
a good
drip
job
is
of they
great.
do a good job of taking nothing and make it into something. And I don't mean that sarcastically. I think the NFL does a good job of that. The NFL when I was a kid was not a 12-month of the year thing. It is now.
Yeah.
And that's because they take the draft and they made it this huge thing.
Yeah.
And they take the schedule release and they make it a random week, midweek in May is got relevance now.
It's crazy how much
like the other sports just put the schedule out.
They release like what
you know?
they're right now they're releasing like a game at a time. And then it's not just the teams that are playing in that game. Then you get the tweets and stuff like that about how that impacts your team and how that you're not playing in that game. So you're
the Sunday night game.
Right.
They put the first Sunday night game out yesterday, right? It was the Cowboys Giants.
Yeah.
Big shock by the way. Nice division game.
Two really good teams.
I don't even care how good they are. I see that game twice a year, every year for my entire life, but now I have to have that be my marquee Sunday night game. Whatever. So those are two possibilities to playing in Seattle.
Yeah.
So that increases the chances that the Patriots could be opening the season in Seattle.
Right.
I think Chicago is one. I think that Adam Schefter said.
Yeah, Chicago. I think it's down to the Patriots, the Bears, the Chargers, or the Cardinals. And I think we can safely say it's probably not going to be the Cardinals. The other three.
The other three.
There's compelling arguments for all three.
Yep. Yeah. But we'll find out Thursday night. Mike,
we'll
Fred.
probably find out the Seattle part of it before that because that's one of the games.
The trickle out games.
Yeah, one of the league games that the league sends out there. I think that's the
Wednesday night game.
That's the opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, they always announce that before the rest of the schedule.
Fred in Montreal goes on to say, I protested to no avail when the show started accepting calls. Please, more emails, less calls. Am I the original listener of the original podcast? I remember downloading the Binary Pro and blah, blah, blah. And that was a while ago. Yeah.
Who is this?
Fred in Montreal. I remember Dave Crizzoli urging us to take care on Patriots Video News. Now, he would go Pats.
But he had to take care, too. Yeah, he's right.
I remember the original producer, Gary Gradecki. Despite a few memorable opens, Marine Matt is the GOAT producer with custom opens every week. I even met the PFW crew in Buffalo in 2006. So trivia on that game.
2006 in Buffalo.
What was the final score of that game?
2006. So, yeah.
You don't remember? No? He doesn't have the answers either.
I'm thinking J.P. Lossman.
Oh, no, he does have the answer. 28-7. Who was the quarterback for Buffalo?
Was it J.P. Lossman?
That's correct. Who was the coach for Buffalo?
2006?
Yep.
Dick Duran?
Dick Duran is correct. Who scored the New England touchdowns, plural? Yeah. Corey Dillon.
I was going to guess Corey Dillon.
Okay.
Clock killing Corey Dillon.
Yep. And who scored the New England... he said
Troy Brown?
Who scored the New England touchdowns? So Corey Dillon had two. Brady to Chad Jackson and Brady to Doug Gabriel.
The Chad Jackson one, that's good.
To Doug Gabriel and Chad Jackson.
Those are two I could have thought about for days and days.
Matt, send Fred a T-shirt. He wants
Good job, Fred.
He wants a large T-shirt. So
that's a good email.
Yep.
A lot of memories in that. Gary Grodecki, our original producer.
Yeah.
Oh.
Zach in Ohio writes in, I would gladly take 24 hours of Fred's takes on philosophy and existentialism over even 1 minute of Celtics talk. Off-season shows are the best. Also, he says, seems to be more traction every day on a possible Stephon Diggs return. Any validity? We talked about that earlier. Paul says no. He says I
didn't say there's no
he
validity.
says he wouldn't do it. He
I didn't know
touch
anything at all, by the way, about this number thing.
Well, I just told you.
I think that's I mean, I think that's interesting. He was going to wear 8. Now he's decided to stick with 18.
Yeah.
Sorry about the
Ramon in Tampa. says, yes, I care about the schedule for travel, work, fantasy projections, etc. I also work at Raymond James and feel like I can't make travel or family plans because I don't know
agree with this
day
whole
I'll be
mentality.
working or marquee games I want to
Hey.
reserve for personal time.
I'm not gonna put my nose up to anybody's.
No, like,
own
but if
thing.
you're
I'm
like
just-
a huge fan of, right, and
yeah,
you want to know, like, even if when they're playing Sunday night, because you want to make sure that you're, straightened out for Monday. If you're one of those jobs that you got to get up early or whatever, like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of logistics that go not just for media people.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
understand what you're saying. Like,
it just never was like that for me as a fan. But I'm
You
not
know,
saying that you're.
I have
wrong
some,
or
I have
that's
some
wrong,
friends, and
but-
I haven't been able to do this. It's one of my few like real laments for what we do. Like, I have a group of buddies that go to a college football game every year. They go to they go to LSU, they go to Clemson, whatever. They like to do it during the bye week.
Oh.
That kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
so
they want to plan it.
Sure.
We've been trying to go to the Iron Bowl at Auburn, Alabama, but we never can go because we're always
working and you can never commit.
Maybe this will be the year though.
Anthony says, I couldn't care less about the schedule reveal. As a non-New England-based fan, home and away doesn't matter to me. I don't watch the Patriots or any other team's schedule release videos. I love the Goodwill Hunting homage
Thank you.
you did a few years back,
I was
but
a star
but I
in
loved
that.
it for the skit itself, not for the info on who we were playing. I care much more about uniform and face mask talk than schedules. Well, by the way, those videos that we do and that's not about giving you the information about the schedule. It's just the content. The schedule you get in PDF form or whatever. Like if you're looking for, what's the schedule? You're going to miss it on these funny videos that teams do. Like you watch the Chargers, I wouldn't know what the schedule is from that.
Well,
You're just looking for the jokes.
It would have to be funny.
I'd
find the Chargers one to be extremely overrated.
Okay.
Like everybody gets on like this, like thinks that theirs is the creme de la creme, and I never. I'm like, okay, like we're doing anime for the 10th straight year.
Well, I'm getting a little tired of
I
it.
get
But
it.
it is interesting to see where they're going to go. Are they going? How far across the line are they going to cross?
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Especially this year.
Well,
Dan of Virginia in Michigan.
I'll fight you.
Is Paul planning to write a book about his trip to Italy? Did he happen to drop off any cat food for slutty cats over there?
Nice.
Oh.
No?
Good. Another good Eric.
That's an homage to Eric.
We got to talk a little bit about this.
We are. We're going to do that right
Yeah.
now. Do we know why Alex really isn't on today's show? Just want to make sure that no Men in Black appeared in Foxborough after Thursday's show.
Nice.
Yeah.
I did see Alex earlier, so she has not been abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
Not to worry.
So let's talk a little bit about what Paul did last week. He wasn't here all week. He was in Italy, in Europe, with his family. Like, was it your immediate family? Were your father there?
No.
No?
For your father? No.
No.
Just
Just
my
you?
wife. And Will was there.
Yeah.
He was finishing a semester abroad. He was in Japan for 12 weeks. And the last 6 weeks, he was in Rome. So it was the last week that he was finishing his classes. So Beth and I went over, spent 3 nights in Rome, right in the heart of the city. It was terrific. Got Colosseum tour, Vatican tour, went and, Trevi Fountain, spent all the touristy kind of things, and really enjoyed.
And it's interesting. When Paul was at the Colosseum, people were asking him gladiator trivia, and he was getting it right. Like he remembered when Cletus beat Leopoli.
Oh, I thought you were...
in the like he knew which match it was, what kind of sword
I thought he was
used.
talking about the movie. I'm not gonna.
No. I'm talking about the actual events that in the Colosseum.
It's fun, quick little funny story. Like the amount of people was overwhelming. Like, so these tours, there's literally thousands of people in the Colosseum and in the Vatican. But we're getting our tour in the Vatican, in the Colosseum, and they're talking about sort of the logistics and really the procedure of the gladiators and, the fighters and stuff. And, they were talking about like where like the emperors and, the royalty, the Senate, and they were like and then what would they do, to voice it? And everybody's just looking at it, and I went like this.
Yeah.
She goes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, have you not seen the movie?
And I was like, am I the only one that saw this movie? What are we doing?
To be fair, the movie might not be historically accurate at all. So maybe that was.
So they did sort of explain where.
Oh, I'm sure there is many.
It not entirely like that. It was basically one-on-one stuff.
Yeah.
But they would have like you would fight somebody and the loser would leave, the winner would stay until the next one came. And they did have, the only ones that would be to death were like the prisoners, and they would be like violent crimes. So if someone was guilty of murder, they would sentence them to death in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And they would want people to come because it served as a deterrent, for more crime. So anyway, that was really worth it. The Vatican was terrific. So we did 3 nights there, and then we went 3 nights in Florence, which was good. And Fred, I told you, I can confirm there are in fact villas available in Tuscany.
In Tuscany.
Don't believe the hype. Who was the one that was claiming there was no villas available in Tuscany? And all of Tuscany. Yeah, but who said it on Seinfeld? Someone was telling Jerry there were no available. Don't even try to get one. There's nothing available. But I forget who.
Right. It wasn't one of the main characters.
No.
It
was like a.
There's nothing.
We
Right.
can't hear you.
It was like a Tim Watley type or one of those.
Yeah, well, it might have been Tim Watley actually. I'm not sure. All
right.
Matt's gonna look it up. Yeah. See. This is one.
What was your favorite meal?
So
that's the most important part.
I didn't have a bad
it was,
meal.
The orchestra guy. I can't think of it. It begins with an M.
The maestro.
The maestro.
Yeah.
The maestro. Yeah, I didn't have a bad meal. Nothing really stood out as being like the best meal, but I had like a couple of different kinds of veal, just regular bolognese, things like that. Got a pizza that was terrific.
Do they have Chinese restaurants in Italy?
They do have every imaginable American fast food restaurant. McDonald's, Burger King, Five Guys.
Papagino's?
I didn't see Papagino's.
No, that's a New England
KFC. There were a lot of KFCs.
Really?
But I obviously didn't go to any of those.
I would have.
Took a trip.
You went to Five Guys in Germany, though.
I did. Well,
yeah.
Because German food wasn't the Italian food.
And they had schnitzel. It was great.
Yeah, it was not great. Not great. I did have it, though. We went to a farm in Tuscany, did like a wine tasting, and made our own pasta. Which was that was a highlight. That was a highlight. I'll say that. Coliseum was tremendous. Sistine Chapel, just really really cool.
Vatican.
Yeah, it was a great trip. I would highly recommend it if you have any interest at all in the history. But there's a lot of people. It was a little overwhelming at times.
Is this the high time for visiting Italy?
They drive like absolute maniacs.
Yeah.
And every single person smokes cigarettes.
Yeah.
Wow. Everyone.
Nice.
Okay. So there's
a lot of fun.
Paul's trip. No incidents.
No incidents.
Nothing?
So I couldn't have been.
What happened on the way home?
Treated better in all the places that we were. Even like the last night we stayed at this like marina, which was closer to the airport. It was almost like it looked like it was in Florida. It was like palm trees and right on the water, some beautiful boats. It was cool. We're coming home. I'm on the plane on the way home. We land. You know how everybody gets up when you land, right? And then you got to wait like 15 minutes.
I got to be the first one. I got to get my bag.
Pet peeves is when people stand up.
So now a lot of people are standing up and they have their bags out. I was in the middle row. There was like 4 in the middle. So there was a woman on the outside and then me. So when the door opens and people start to sort of get their stuff and get ready to go out, the woman next to me then gets up and gets her bag, right? And she's waiting for the rows to go, and she goes. So then when she goes, I go out, I reach over. This old woman's like, oh. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just going to get my bag. And she yells at me. And I started laughing because all I could think about was Fred. I swear to God, I thought of Fred. Like, I'm in another fight with an old lady. I don't know how this happened.
She didn't want you standing up?
Yeah, she goes, well, just sit there. And I was like, I'm just getting my bag.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't leave without my bag. Like, I just had to get my bag out of the overhead.
The airplane.
You didn't have a snarky remark?
Yeah, I did. I said, usually you go by row.
Yeah.
I said, usually you go by row, and you were in a row back there, and I'm here.
Right. Good,
so
Paul.
I'm going to go before
Good.
you.
Very good.
But that was it. And then I just
Shut her
started
up.
laughing, and I heard her like beep, 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 beep to the woman she was with. And I'm looking at Beth. I go, just keep walking. I'm getting yelled at by some old lady.
The airplane etiquette and first world problem of ours. We travel a lot. We're on airplanes a lot, so you know maybe we're more versed in that.
Yeah.
But like, there's so many things that people that like that. Like, no, you go, I go, you go, I. It's not. This is
The only
a
thing
free
is,
for
and
all.
if she had said to me, "I have a connected
Yeah,
flight,"
okay.
I would be.
Go.
I'd be the first guy to jump out of the row and
Right.
let someone who's got a connected flight.
Sure.
To go. In all seriousness, I've done it many times. People say, "Excuse me, I have a connect." Say no more. Go. You get out first. That's not what was happening.
You go by row, like standing up, both at the gate, like when people stand around, just wait until your
Wait till your zone is called,
right? Like it's
and then everybody can get on.
You
Well,
can clear
the-
efficiently.
But here's the thing about that, and I agree, you should do that. But with the space above, I understand where people like, I don't want to be checking my bag because I want to go. And if you wait too long, you're going to run out of space and they're going to make you check your bag. I blame the airlines for that.
I agree.
The fact that they don't have enough room for each person's bag is ridiculous. Now, if I was running an airline, I know people won't like this because it takes away their
This
ability
sounds like a
to
good one.
charge you more to get on early. I would load the plane from the back, and I would have a attendant back there, and I would watch each person put their bag, and I would make sure that they're not putting their bag where they're not supposed to be, and I would load from back to front so that everybody does it in an orderly fashion. And if you're not there when your row is called, too bad, you have to wait.
I'm more talking about like you're in zone 7 and they're still calling first class and vets and all
people
that.
are lined up there. Yeah,
I
I
don't
know.
know. So
Sit
you get up
down.
to go and you get behind these people. And you're like,
Right.
what are we doing?
And I hear that.
Or people that get up when you land, you have to immediately get up.
But
and it's
Well,
like
then
but
they're
again,
taking their bags out and
if
they're
you
cl-
knew,
they
Right.
can't carry the
Like,
bag because
but
bang, it hits
again,
the person
if
in
you
front.
knew
held
that
down.
when you got on the plane, regardless of when you got on the plane, you'd have a space above your seat for your bag, people wouldn't be lining up early. They wouldn't be anxious about that. It's the airline's fault. They
I like
created
your
this.
idea too, Freddie, about.
I just think people
people have long said
exist
they
in
should.
their
Why
own
don't they
world.
do it from the back? They don't, whatever reason.
Because they
But-
can charge, get
but-
on early, give us some more money.
But if you had like the flight attendants sort of watching everybody, that's the solution.
Right.
And you have enough help that you
I-
can sort of say,
I-
no, you're sitting at 24. Put it over you. Don't put it over there.
Right, and
I
put it
think
in the
we
right way.
are-
Oh, that little handbag. Put it on
Yeah.
your seat. You don't need to be taking space up there for your little clutch.
I think that these people are just selfish. Like they don't
People
care
are
about
selfish. That's all
anyone
about
else.
them.
They are selfish.
And they have blinders on, and it's like, no, like, I'm going to stand here because I want to stand here, and I don't care if I'm in the way, and I don't care if I'm disrupting the flow of traffic. This is where I want to stand.
But I do, on the other side, I do get it. You packed really efficiently so that you don't have to check a bag.
Right.
Right? And so you want to be able to put the bag above your head.
But it doesn't matter. Like, if you're in a zone, you're getting on the plane when your zone is called. So whether you stand up there and wait or don't, it's not going to make you any
But if
faster.
I'm in zone 7, chances are I'm going to have to check a bag because all
But
the
only
space
if they
is
let
done.
people in zone 6 put their stuff in zone 7. So you can solve it with your attendant.
But they don't do that because they want you to be anxious. They want you to pay an extra $40
I agree
to
with
have
you.
early entry. I'm telling you, it's all about money. We're getting screwed. The whole airline thing
we're
has to
obviously
be
getting
revamped.
screwed by airlines. I think that in many ways,
Oh.
not just this
Well, and then
way.
like the few sort of economy airlines, they're dropping like flight. Spirit's gone now. Like
Yeah.
you can't fly anywhere for anything.
It's
reasonable.
ridiculous.
Spirit was kind of a scam.
Ridiculous.
Too. You pay less, and then they charge you up the wazoo for everything else.
For all the extras.
Yeah. James Pettigrew, the most interesting Patriots fan in the world, writes in, the only reason we care about the schedule release was it used to annoy Eric. That is my only frame of reference for the schedule release for the last 20 years. Yeah, Eric didn't like the schedule. I'll know the schedule when I don't need to, you know.
I'm indifferent to the whole
Meanwhile, he's
social
tipping
media
picks.
aspect. Like the whole, it's the social media Super Bowl week.
Maybe
I'm
5 years
indifferent
ago.
to that whole thing. I don't care. But like Eric brought like indifference to an art form.
I do think, and maybe the numbers don't directly back this up. The whole it's the social media Super Bowl thing. I think that has worn out a little bit.
One can hope.
I don't think we care as much as I think we peaked with like our Good Will Hunting spin-off skit. I think that was like the peak of interest in that sort of thing, and then ever since then I've noticed that we're going the other way.
We or the league?
Everybody.
Oh,
the masses.
You could be right. I mean, it might kind of wane.
I'm not saying people aren't going to watch it or consume it. I'm just saying
Yep.
that was sort of when it was at the height of its importance.
Sean in Shelton, Connecticut, wanted to chime in on the best order to watch Star Wars films. Paul, you didn't answer that question.
I didn't answer any of the Star Wars questions.
to.
I'm not qualified to answer those
the
questions.
machete.
I leave that stuff to the experts.
I respect that.
The machete order has you watch it in the following order. Have you heard of the machete order? I haven't heard that. Matt, you're shaking your head. Yes,
Of course he has.
I couldn't name it off the top of my head, but I have.
Well, he's got it.
I'm not nerdy
It's
enough.
episode. I'll name it in how we.
This is the order
machete
in which
order.
you should watch the movies.
It's 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6. This offers better narrative flow for the first-time viewers, ending with the twist in episode 5 to show the rise of Darth Vader before the showdown in episode 6.
Why would you go back to 1?
4,
If we're
5.
assuming that 1 is Phantom Menace, which I disagree with, but 1 is Phantom Menace, why would you go 4 and 5 are New Hope, Empire,
Right.
and then you're going to go back to
Otherwise known as the only two that I've seen.
the origin after that? I don't understand how that follows. Like
What do you think of that, Fred? I consider you an expert in
As I said, I've only watched them in the order that they were released, so I don't know any better. And my fear is that, I know how I got hooked on episode 4, which for me was episode 1. And I'm afraid that if you start somewhere else, a new viewer won't get as hooked on it as I was.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I think, but maybe, I don't know, like my cousin who's, 10, 12 years younger than I am, he started watching Star Wars with the new stuff. And he got hooked on.
Well, that's
because
what
that
I
was
would
his
wonder if
generation.
anybody would watch it. How many other?
Oh, there's 9 movies, but then you got to have Rogue One is the 10th.
There's really
I wonder if anybody now would watch them 1 through 9, as opposed to starting at 4.
Right. I think that you probably should from a story arc. That's how it's meant to be put together. But to Fred's point, I would worry that Phantom Menace, which has its moments and has good parts, but isn't really a great movie, you would be like, really? This is what all the fuss is about? And kind of, and then you get to Attack of the Clones as the next one, you're going to be like, okay, now I'm really not interested.
So basically, it's more like you don't think those are all that good.
Correct.
So you don't want people to start with those because you don't like them.
Correct. I think Phantom Menace has its moments and has a little bit of a renaissance, like a resurgence, like that. Now
I have
now
no frame of reference because I didn't see it.
It's watchable.
So
that's the best compliment I can give it.
Jadarius writes in, glad to see you back, Paul. Hope you enjoyed your vacation. Just wanted to thank you for all the talks on all varieties of topics every season and off season. I go home next month after 9 years in prison, and listening to this podcast really helped me. So thank you all so much, and I'm forever grateful to you guys. Well, good
keep
luck
us on the outside.
Yeah,
Good luck with that.
Good luck on your journey back, and you did your time. So hopefully life gets a lot better after that.
Yeah, we're big in prison.
We're big in prison.
Are we? We have a lot of no.
I can tell you that I've gotten my fair share of mail. From prison.
Yeah,
over
we get
the years.
we get the prison mail. Yep. Chris in Foxborough. During the episode on Thursday, Evan casually mentioned that he was a conspiracy theorist.
It's true.
I need to know the most extreme theory he believes in. I need to know
always
if
gets me
this
in
is
trouble.
birds aren't real or
No.
basic one like the moon landing was a hoax, which it obviously was. I'd love to hear everyone's answer to the questions as well. I can't wait to hear the answers, and I hope Alex is on the show to hear what she thinks might be the most extreme. So what's the most extreme conspiracy theory that you believe in?
These always get me in trouble, but I've been down the rabbit hole of the moon landing, and I question. I'm skeptical for sure.
Yeah, people like you are
That
dangerous.
That's why I said it always gets me in trouble. That one I'm definitely a little bit skeptical of, but I think that watching people like Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong react to people that think that they didn't actually land on the moon, I'm like, probably did.
Do you know how many people would have to be in on the hoax for that to be a hoax?
Like, I don't really want to go down this road, but
Okay.
there
right.
are just certain elements of it that were a little bit.
Paul,
Do you have a conspiracy theory that?
I have a lot that I want to. Well,
See,
are
mine aren't
aliens
real life.
conspiracy theories?
No, that's fact. They're real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, are they considered by other people conspiracy theories?
No,
I think that probably are. Some people,
Well, it's a conspiracy. If you believe that the government is withholding information,
That's a
that's
conspiracy.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. So if you believe in aliens, you believe in a conspiracy theory.
Why?
Because if aliens are true, then the government is withholding information.
Oh, yeah. But I think that we know that there's living organisms on other planets.
Do we?
I think so, and those would be considered aliens.
Well, there's actually, I think.
But how will we ever know? You don't believe in any of the space travel,
Right.
Well, so here's the thing about the moon landing. I came around on that one. I agree that we probably did. I think that there's evidence that certain things were maybe doctored is the wrong word, but exaggerated or whatever. I'm not 100%
Not that
sold.
far away.
No, not on that. Elvis, been down that road before, and he's obviously dead now. But did he die when they say he died? I'm not sure about that
I'm
one.
amazed he didn't die before that. Did you see him when he was?
There was some really good hard evidence of a private plane flying out of the airport locally nearby, and pictures on the tarmac of Elvis and things like that were very compelling. Things like that. But other than
I
that,
don't think I have any real conspiracy theories that I'm strong. I mean, your alien thing would probably, I think it's kind of naive to think that this is the only planet that has any life. So I guess that would be a conspiracy theory, because you're right. The government is probably suppressed some information on that, right?
Well, they
UFOs or
supposedly they released all these videos, and I'm still waiting for okay, there it is.
Right.
Well, because I think that not to make this a whole thing, but I think when you're thinking of aliens, you're thinking of ET popping up and here's this human life,
intelligent life.
Well, it doesn't have to necessarily be intelligent.
Oh
to
no,
make it
I
an
mean,
alien.
listen, there could be bacteria somewhere or whatever,
Yeah.
or an organism in a long ago dried up river. Yeah, I mean that's life. Obviously, that constitutes. But I think what.
But I do like Trump on that.
Yeah.
Let them see it and make draw their own conclusions.
Yeah. But the conspiracy is that we've been contacted and that the government's withholding it. That's the conspiracy, right?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that would be a conspiracy.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's definitely things that are alive that are on other planets.
I don't know if definitely.
I'm pretty sure definitely.
Okay. Well,
I see. That's where I would sort of believe something like that. I don't know if I could say definitely. I am a conspiracy guy, but it's more frivolous. How many times Fred over the years, I'm
referees.
Not buying, no, but I'm not buying
that's a
that.
fair one.
But basically, I'm not buying it when I hear sort of explanations of things that doesn't pass the sniff test. I don't
The
know if
NHL draft lottery.
Yeah, those kinds of things. I do believe that the original draft lottery, Patrick Ewing, I believe that was fixed.
Oh, I mean, it's been fixed multiple times.
But I believe that one in particular was fixed.
Yeah.
I don't know that for sure, but those kinds of things, again, frivolous. That's not really harming anybody. I think there's a million of those that I would absolutely, if you said, no, I buy that one. Yeah, no, that one. I almost never just accept something we could talk about COVID forever. I don't accept a lot of things at face value. I think Fauci's a crook, as an example. I think there was a lot of stuff going on there.
See, this is
which is coming out now, by the way. But I thought it then. I thought the way we handled the whole thing was terrible. But again, I'm an idiot, and I cover sports. So again, most of the things that I'm talking about are frivolous.
California John writes in, Love the show and the newsletter and the off-season topics. And yes, Thursday's Open was among the best ever. Just as great it was the discussion of the Big Bang, so I wanted to bend everyone's brain with the sentence that starts off Neil deGrasse Tyson's book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. In the beginning, nearly 14 billion years ago, all the space and all the matter and all the energy of the known universe was contained in a volume less than 1/trillionth the size of a period that ends this sentence. That speck, this is now unquote, that speck, 1/trillionth the size of a period, was all there was, all there is now, and all there will ever be. There was not even space outside that unimaginably small dot. And yes, no one knows what came before. Alex, it's time for that beer in a campfire. And P.S., Evan was 100% correct. Star Wars in 77 was the only real thing. The rest are just jumping the shark. So
a lot of people get like fascinated about like, oh, we're just like a speck in this. That doesn't do it for me. I just don't really like, like when like they were traveling around the moon recently and they took the pictures of them looking at Earth from space and everybody lost their minds. It's like, yeah, it's
that doesn't.
It just doesn't move me. I don't know.
Okay.
I was like, yeah, it's a picture of Earth.
You are a cold fish.
I don't know what's like. I don't get it.
That's okay. That's all right.
It just doesn't like.
Whatever.
Whatever.
You like your analytics and you like your cold hard numbers and that's X and O's and that's you. You do you.
Cool.
You do you. I choose to be amazed at what's around me and be grateful for everything that
Fred,
is bigger than me.
I think that is something that my generation misses.
Yeah.
I don't think we're amazed. We're too caught up in what we got going on to be like, okay, you took a picture.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Andrew Norris, who's a Navy veteran, thank you for your
home.
service, writes in. I'm an airline pilot now, and I've absolutely noticed over the last year or so a lot more people trying to barge forward as soon as everyone stands up.
Oh, yeah. So true.
For Star Wars, starting with Episode 1 is a terrible idea. I've been trying to get my best friends to watch Star Wars for years. We're in our 40s, so I have no idea how he hasn't seen them. He started with Episode 1 and couldn't get through it. One scene with Jar Jar Binks, and he was done with Star Wars forever. That's kind of my point. Keep up the great work. You guys kept being a Patriots fan. You keep it fun for 5 years when the football was terrible. Pumped we're back. So
thanks.
Thank you for your service and your email.
Yeah.
Dave in Maine. I'm sure you're sworn to secrecy, but do you guys know the schedule already? Do the coaches know? Does anyone outside the league office already know? Just curious. We don't know. I
honestly have not seen it.
And
I don't have any idea.
And outside of that league office, very few people would know. Now, maybe like a network exec knows, in the big networks that pay billions of dollars, maybe they are given a heads up. And there are leaks, so obviously somebody knows, but we don't know.
I do like looking at leaked schedules.
Yeah,
because
they're
like
so
there was,
wrong.
They're right.
Yeah, well, because
the one that didn't have Seattle on it.
Yeah, that was what I was just going to mention. You know, when you just look and you're like, okay, that's wrong.
Yeah,
has them.
Like,
and the guy admitted that he just made it up.
Oh yeah. No, usually even like when I worked at NFL Network, it was the same cadence as it is here. We didn't find out until the morning of.
Right.
Usually. Or maybe the night before, but it was all just to create content. It was, create graphics and
get prepared.
All that kind of stuff. But we wouldn't find out usually.
There have been years like we used to write
hours.
a lot of like analysis kind of stuff, and we don't do as more. It's now like more about the content and the video and all that stuff. So there were times that I would find out about it beforehand, but I haven't found out about it until after it's released now for a good 10 years.
Yeah, Deuce usually writes.
I'll probably find out Friday morning.
Yeah, Deuce will have an analysis right up on it on
And you
Thursday.
know what? You'll know just as much as the people who found out the night before.
Yeah,
and it'll be it'll be fine. I'll be on time for the first game.
Yeah,
we'll be
there.
there.
Hopefully.
Alex in Pennsylvania. Evan said there is at least a very high likelihood of life on other planets.
Yeah.
What is one example? If there is no such example, then his reason for believing is illogical and irrational.
Okay. Well, those are some strong words.
Well, what's your basis for believing
It
that?
is strong words. Strong words.
What's your evidence?
I don't know.
You don't have any. But I can understand with the vastness of the universe and the billions of different planets and stars to say that there's no chance of life elsewhere.
I find that part irrational. Like you're telling me I'm irrational. Right. I think it's pretty irrational to think that we are the only planet that has life on it.
And that's what and that's kind of how I feel. I think it would be kind of naive to think we're the only ones that were able to do
at this moment in time.
We're the only ones that can identify it.
In this moment in time, it might be true because the amount of time that we have existed and will exist is less than a snap of a finger.
That is true.
So now you're trying to say that there's multiple existences within that snap of a finger. It's more likely that there were existences outside of that brief moment of time.
Right, but we also know that like this is our solar system and then there's other solar systems.
I'm talking about the universe.
And we cannot reach them yet.
Right. Well,
so we can barely reach the moon successfully.
Right.
So to think that
we're slingshotting around it now. Come on.
We didn't even land on it.
We went right around.
But apparently we landed on it in 1969, but we can't land on it now.
We can if we
want. Well, they didn't want to. That wasn't the mission.
Okay. And
he's
so
really he's in.
Yeah.
He's in.
So
now
okay.
I'm making fun of him. That's his thoughts.
Yeah.
But he's in. He's entrenched.
Okay.
A little bit. Yeah.
I think you're done.
I think it's pretty crazy that so I know they wanted to fly around the moon to plan to go to the moon, and then we're going to use that as like a lily pad to Mars. That's the plan, right? The long-term plan is actually
they're gaining data for that. Yeah.
The long-term plan is to get to Mars. But we supposedly went to the moon in 1969, correct? And now it took 50 years later, we can't just go to the moon.
It's all about money. There was no reason to spend the money. But
it was okay to fly around it.
Because now the idea of going to Mars is more tangible. Back then it wasn't.
I'll be impressed when we get to Mars.
I don't think we'll see it. Well, you might.
What do you mean? They said that we're going to try to do it in like 5 years.
We're going to start working on it.
Well, this is my point. It's like chop,
I won't.
Come on.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I'm going to bring in some Reynolds wrap. You can put it on your head because you really sound like a tinfoil guy.
No. I said it before that I concede that we probably landed on the moon.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Neil Armstrong thanks you.
Well, he punched a guy, or was that Buzz Aldrin? One of them punched a guy in the face.
Oh, that was John Glenn.
No, I think it was Buzz Aldrin.
Oh, was it?
I think so.
I thought it was John Glenn. Anyway,
too bad
we did land on the moon.
Too bad it wasn't Evan that got punched in the face. That would have been funny. That would have been good content.
I said we did land on the moon.
Good. I'm going to knock you to the moon. Anthony says, my favorite sports conspiracy is that Michael Jordan's dad was killed by the mob and his first retirement was to protect the league from discussing MJ's gambling issues and potentially betting on games. What are your favorite sports conspiracies?
I would say that one is actually, now, was it the mob or was it just a bad group of people?
Yeah, like a gambling debt.
Right, is separate things. But that one, I wouldn't even call that conspiracy theory necessarily because there's actual tangible evidence that might have been the case.
No, but it would be the conspiracy theory would be that the NBA actually suspended Jordan for gambling,
right?
And he deemed it a retirement when he played baseball.
Sure.
Right. That's a conspiracy theory,
a little bit,
and that's a really good one.
But I think that one also does have like as far as conspiracy theories go, that one has a lot of evidence.
Well, that's generally, they're rooted in some sort of interest, like reality.
Yeah, sometimes. The moon one is not reality. Like we all can agree that like
no, like there's people that you can do anything. There's people that don't think that 9/11 attacks really happened.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Like you can make up anything in your head. I'm talking like legit.
Sandy Hook.
I just think the sports conspiracies I find to be more, maybe because it's less stakes. Like we're not talking about things like, that major, but I think that there's a lot of validity to a lot of the things that we kind of think are going on.
So sports conspiracies, let's think of some besides Michael Jordan.
Well, I think like Paul brought up the
Patrick Ewing draft lottery, him going to the Knicks, to me,
I think every single lottery is fixed. I think they're all fixed.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't think that, because I don't think it's like fixed is like not even the right word. Like you don't think that they're somewhat like
I think there might have been instances, but again, there's a lot of people involved, and in today's world, that would get out.
But I think that there's a difference between like we're going to put our finger on the scale for this team versus that team versus like it being some like wild conspiracy. Like, for instance, the Dallas Mavericks trade Luka Doncic in one of the most embarrassing trades in the history of the league and then get the number 1 overall pick in the draft that happens to have a superstar generational talent at the top of the draft. Like, that is not, there's no way that was just simply luck. Let's also not forget that they had some of the worst odds to win the lottery and they somehow won the lottery. Like, that's not, so there has to have been something that happened there.
Some of those, and I understand what you're saying. You think all lotteries are fixed. In 85, I think it was 85, when they had the first lottery, there are a lot of reasons why you could say it was in the NBA's best interest to have Patrick Ewing go to the Knicks.
Yeah.
What's in it for the NBA to have Cooper Flagg go to the Mavericks, other than to help the Mavericks because they made a very bad trade?
No. See, if you want to go full tinfoil hat on this, you have to go a step back. The incentive for the NBA was to get Luka Doncic on the Lakers.
So okay,
so when Luka
you trade him to the Lakers, and we'll
make you
this.
Yeah.
So that's good. I'll give you credit. That's.
I'm not saying that's what happened.
Thought.
Just for the record, we're doing conspiracy theories.
Yes, that's a good next level thought. Because that's how you draw from A to B to get to C.
It was very odd that when Luka Doncic got traded, that 75% of the NBA didn't even know he was available. And if you have a player like that, why wouldn't you be shopping a player of that caliber to up the price to as many people as possible and have an open bidding war for a player like that? And the fact that he just happened to go to one of the most popular, most decorated franchises in the league doesn't seem like a by accident thing. And then the next draft lottery, all of a sudden they have the number 1 pick.
Yeah. I think when it comes to sports, there's more injustices than conspiracies.
Yeah.
Like, for example, the Americans losing to the Russians in basketball that year. There was so many things that happened at the end of that game.
Yeah, that game was fixed.
Oh, you think it was fixed?
Yeah, I think there was corruption with the officiating.
Yeah. So that could be.
But that's not necessarily a conspiracy.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's like you said.
Yeah.
I like your word, injustice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a million of those. I mean, Tim Donaghy was literally found to have been fixing games in the NBA.
One rogue official, says David Stern. But again, conspiracy to cover up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got in trouble with the Twitter sphere this weekend, Paul, because I was complaining about the refs. They don't like that very much. Watching the Spurs-Wolves game on Sunday night, Wemby throws an elbow. It was not a good look. He obviously should not have done that.
Should he have got fined?
So I'm watching the game, though. I turned on the game, and all I'm doing, is I don't have any rooting interest in the game. I'm turning on the game to watch one person, Victor Wembanyama. Within 5 minutes of watching the game, he throws an elbow, gets thrown out. So I said on Twitter, well, that was stupid, right?
Stupid to throw the elbow or kick him out?
Kick him out.
So I don't have much of a problem with him getting thrown out of the game. I think he should have been fined, but I don't think he should have been suspended.
Right.
Because
he already served the suspension.
Especially because of that. If it was with 5 minutes left in the game, then you could make another argument. But that was pretty early in the game.
That was the football incident a year or two. I think
when
it was
spit on the guy.
It was the opening game of the season, right? And he spit on the guy, and he served the suspension that
for the whole game.
Yeah.
They're just. I think there's in that instance all these. We have to collectively understand that we are all either consuming it at home or there to watch the players play.
I understand
but
that.
You can't just let guys do whatever they want. Because he's the star.
I get that. But at the same time, there has to be, it's a big playoff game. Him getting thrown out of that game.
I know, don't throw the elbow.
No, not that people care on this show, but him getting thrown out of that game completely changed the series.
I know, but if they hadn't thrown him out, then I think that would be the conspiracy.
I mean, you could do this a million times. The year that the Warriors blew the 3-1 lead to LeBron.
Yeah. They kicked Draymond out. Yeah.
Which completely changed the series.
Yeah.
The solution to that, Draymond, stop being a dink and
I
kicking
understand.
people in the junk.
I just think that there
Like,
needs to be a little bit more.
Then you
of a
don't get thrown
threshold.
out of the game and the series doesn't turn.
I think there needs to be a little bit of a higher threshold in play.
I think there is,
but
but
you could
when it's
easily
blatant
say-
like that,
like
you
if-
have to do something.
But I could easily sit there and go on the other side of the argument, which I do often. I just play both sides of arguments. And you could say, well, that was a conspiracy theory because they wanted LeBron to be the conquering hero and win one for Cleveland.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far, but
You know, like they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But
All right. Couple calls to end the show because we're getting to the end. Mike is in Vermont. What's up, Mike?
Hey, good afternoon. How you doing, guys? I'm gonna bring us back from the moon to Foxborough, if you don't mind. And I love the show. Thank you. With all the talk with Brown, and I just turned on the show because my honeydew list is all completed. But with all the talk of Brown and his coming after June, and I hope I'm not being repetitive here, is there any hypothetical way that the Patriots staff looks at the players they have now on the field and take a step back and say, really, we can do it with the people we have here? Now, I'm not against the trade because I saw what Moss did for us on our offense. So hypothetically, what is that a possibility or is that a stretch? And I'll be off the line and take the call. Thanks again, guys.
Okay.
I guess I don't understand. Anything's possible.
I mean, is he saying hypothetically they won't make the trade because they feel better about what they have?
I guess. Like I just don't. I guess maybe I'm looking at the player differently. Like, what's the downside of taking a swing on AJ Brown? Like what? Like I guess maybe the draft pick compensation.
Yeah, you lose some resources and potentially you're impacting your offense in a negative way if he doesn't pan out. Like, because clearly you're making a trade with the idea that he's going to be your number one guy. So if he doesn't pan out, you've lost something. Like in your mind, you're thinking he's going to have an impact on your offense.
There's risk.
I think there's pretty little risk in terms of like
I agree.
him this year.
I
If
agree,
you want to
there's
have a
little
conversation about the trade compensation and all that, I guess. But like, I have no doubt that if they acquired AJ Brown, he would be a productive player for them.
Okay. Michael is in Virginia Beach. Hey, Michael.
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Good. So, two things. One, I was actually at that game in Buffalo that y'all were talking about earlier, 2006. It was a wild game when Chad Jackson trust me, it was nuts. But when I heard someone write in saying it was irrational that Evan thought that way about believing there's life because there's no proof or anything, to me, that's always what a belief is. Belief is believing in something without knowledge of it. You either know it or you believe it. One of the two things. So I was kind of calling in to stick up for Evan. I'm the same way. I don't know what's out there, but I believe that
choose to believe.
Life out there just makes sense.
Yep.
But like I don't believe like pavement's hard because I go out there and feel it. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
So that was just, I was like, that's not really I didn't think it was a fair way to come at it.
Well, I think someone was they were kind of trolling Evan because Evan likes to be so factual when it comes to some things, but then in others he suspends belief.
But that's kind of why I like him too. It's why he keeps me listening to everything.
Yeah. Cool.
But you guys have an amazing day. It's always a pleasure to listen to you guys. You always keep it fun and keep it light.
Thank you, Michael. See, Michael
Michael.
called all the way from Virginia Beach to stick up for you.
That's a valid point.
How about that?
I usually am like the,
right,
analytical.
And you take offense when people don't base their opinions about football based on fact.
That's true. I never thought of that.
So
this is a different side of my brain.
Fact
apparently.
so football is more important than life to you.
My wife would probably agree with that. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's probably
all right.
true.
We've come to a conclusion.
Wow.
We've got a little bit of insight into the psyche of Evan Lazar.
That's deep, guys.
So
that was deep.
I'll send you a bill for this therapy session. All right. That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. We have more therapy tomorrow at noon with you and Barth.
Yeah,
this is where you are the therapist to Barth, right?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. We'll talk about rookie minicamp a little bit more detail because he was also there, so we'll be able to
did you hear that shot?
talk. Well, I'm just
Kind of
being
a shot at us.
I mean, I'm just
Not
being
at me,
honest.
I was in Italy.
Yeah, he was.
Right, no, but we were there.
You were on your couch.
We were there.
Well, you know,
I was
just
running
being honest.
around.
There was no need for you to be there.
I was running around.
That's why that's what you pay me to do,
And,
is to be there.
I
I'm
had
not gonna lie.
S to do.
A Saturday, I don't think we would have needed 3 people to be there. I don't think I would have been there.
Well,
if I
Deuce
was
just
home.
likes to be there to be there. You know, Deuce. He's
He's
like,
just smiling.
Well, he
I
can
want to be
walk.
outside.
He can
we get to
walk.
watch
He might as well be
football,
here.
you know.
All right. So that's on Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday. See you then.
Hey, this is Deuce. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us wherever you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else that we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.